Hey guys, it's the Friday Jac, Jimmy Against Christ. I just have a few things I want to say. First of all, when the Americans, defected from the British, one of their main reasons was they felt they were receiving taxation without representation. But think about what Christianity does. There's all taxation and no representation when it comes to God. First of all, we're taxed because we have to do all this shit, whether to get into heaven or for God knows what or whatever. But what representation do we have? We're not God. We don't even know God really exists, and we still do some of this stuff. We don't know that it's going to make any difference if we do it. We don't know that there even is a heaven and hell, much less that we're going to go to heaven or hell. We just take it on faith that we better do this or else. But that's total taxation and absolutely no representation when it comes to religion. So why are people so stupid? Why can't they just stand up for themselves? If we can stand up to the British and have the Revolutionary War, why can't we stand up to God and stop the Christian nonsense? I mean, I have no proof that there's God, if there even is a God. I have no proof that there's a hell, and I have no proof I'm going there no matter what I do. But yet, despite all that lack of evidence, lack of representation, I'm gonna tax myself by saying I have to do all these good things or not do all these bad things. Who's to say that we're in a bad state? If Adam and Eve hadn't sinned, somebody would have anyway. And if Adam and Eve hadn't sinned, they would have lived forever, but only in a blissful state of ignorance and stupidity, which is what God actually wanted, because God is a jealous, mean, evil creature. How dare man think, so I'm going to make him die? Well, good. That's actually for the best, I believe. Plus, none of us would be here if Adam and Eve hadn't taken that fruit. It would have been a different world, and you and I, anybody watching this video on this earth, would not be here. It would have been all different people. So you can thank your own existence, if that means anything to you, LOL, on Adam and Eve sinning. And what's wrong with knowledge? I want to know good and evil. What's wrong with that? But ignorance is the only answer. So in this case, the serpent is actually the hero of the Garden of Eden story. The serpent represented freedom. The serpent represented power. The serpent represented choice and knowledge and understanding. God was the evil one to make all these curses for us daring to do that, like Prometheus, who gave in Greek mythology, Prometheus was the person who gave human beings fire and self-defense and ability to survive. So Zeus punished him strictly because Zeus wanted total, more power, and for humans to have less and less power. And Prometheus was on the human side, and so Zeus, representing God in this scenario, punishes Prometheus by having his liver eaten out every night, but then the next day it goes back and it's eaten out every night again. That was only he only got out of that when another god agreed to take his place. He didn't really get out. Nobody really got out of that. It was just somebody took his place in Greek mythology. So Prometheus himself got out of it only because someone else stepped in to allow their liver to be eaten every night and grow back the next day. There's your God. I see nothing wrong with anything in this existence. I mean, who's to say death isn't a good thing, for that matter? I mean, do you really want to live here forever? Like, no fucking end. Like, you will live. That's actually more terrifying on many levels, at least the way I see it, than just living here and you go on. Jesus, So many religions, the Jehovah's Witnesses make it all about living everlastingly on the earth, or 144,000 in heaven, but most of us clinging to life on the earth. Like that's really a panacea. You want to breathe forever. You want to inhale in and out, countless times for the eons of eternity. Never stop breathing in and out. I find it kind of laborious myself. Once one of these things, it's actually nice because we forget that we're breathing. We're not to live to live. We can't just do nothing and live. We have to breathe. All our organs have to move. We have to think. We have to do all this junk. Nothing wrong with it, but do you really want to do it forever? And not only that, the only way you would have gotten that in the Christian scenario is if you were a dumb shit in the garden that hadn't taken of the fruit. Someone said, and a wise person said, the only way to end a temptation is to give in to it. So that's my answer. If I'm tempted by something I really want, the only way to get past that is just do it. And then now it's not a temptation because you've done it. That was the solution in the Garden of Eden to the temptation of that fruit. Eat it, get it over with, face the consequences, and screw you, God. So, love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.